suburbs in Tampa. People ask about the suburbs all the time. Let me kind of explain all of them in a framework that I think will help you understand. I'm Sam, and this is the Living in Tampa channel. We make these videos for you about what it's like to live and move to the entire Tampa area. We're also a team of realtors. If you want to buy a house, sell a house, you want to process your move, whatever it is, we want to hear from you. Our phone number and email are right there on the screen and in the description down below. Once you reach out to us, what will happen is we'll schedule a Zoom call or phone call with you just to process your situation and see how we can best help. But let's talk about the suburbs. People ask us about the suburbs all the time. It's a big, big topic. We sell a lot of houses in the suburbs all around the Tampa area. When I look at the map of Tampa, I've talked about this before, I kind of think of these like concentric circles. You have like town centers, and then you have like original suburbs that were built in the 60s and 70s. And then the next ring out, you have these new nice suburbs. Master planned communities, nice amenities, resort style living, all those kind of boxes get checked in these areas. We're gonna go through the Tampa Explained framework that I did a bunch of videos about, and we're gonna talk about proximity, style, size, and cost. The reason I like this framework is because it answers the biggest questions that people ask. If you do have more specific questions, we want to hop on a call with you. That's the best way to move forward with your specific situation. So when we talk about proximity, what is nearby? So we're gonna talk about downtowns, airport, beach, shopping. Downtown Tampa from the suburbs is 30 minutes to an hour from all of these suburbs. It really is not crazy far. It's really not more than an hour from any specific suburb. Even when you get out on the edges, you get up into Angeline on the north side of Land O'Lakes, or you get down into, Sea Air, a new metro development down in Parrish. It's not more than an hour away to downtown Tampa. Now, if you're in Land O'Lakes or you're in Wesley Chapel, downtown St Petersburg is going to be quite a bit further away. And the airport is really not far from downtown Tampa, and a lot of highways connect to it really easily. So the airport is going to be about the same distance. When we talk about proximity to beaches, once you get into the suburbs, the beaches are further away. They just are. Now, if you're down in Parrish in Manatee County, that you're gonna go to Bradenton, or you're gonna go over the bridge and go to St. Pete Beach. It's not crazy far, so look at like the distance here on the map. From Parrish to St. Pete Beach, it's not crazy. If you get out into the east side of Wesley Chapel, you're gonna go, the closest beach is going to be Fred Howard Park, or if you went down on the causeway, you could get to Clearwater Beach in not too crazy of a time, or Honeymoon Island, but it's gonna be quite a bit further. If you wanna be in a suburb and be close to the beach, you gotta go on the west side of Pasco County. You gotta go to Trinity or Odessa, one of those like kind of west side areas in Pasco County. Now, going back to those circles, within all these circles, there are kind of suburban feeling places, but I'm just kind of talking about this outer ring that most people ask about when they're thinking of suburbs, when they're thinking of that kind of master planned feel. And then finally, proximity to shops. There's shops everywhere. It just depends kind of what you mean. Grocery stores on every corner, all the other kind of suburban kind of simulation strip centers where you have kind of the grocery store, the dry cleaner, the liquor store, the UPS store, like those kind of things are everywhere. But when it comes to more like shopping, like outlet mall, nice mall, like those are kind of hit or miss. So I live on the east side of Newport Richey in a very suburban area. I drive a mile and there's Lowe's and Home Depot and kind of all those kind of things. But there's no like mall. There's not stuff like that in my area. There are some suburbs where there's a bit more of that. Those would be Lutz, Wesley Chapel, and then down on the east side, like Brandon. You're gonna have a bit more of that in those areas. But for all the necessary things to live your life, all those things are super close. Okay, next on our criteria, style. Style of suburbs in the Tampa area is pretty consistent. They all feel pretty manicured, nice amenities, nice green open space, nice wetland kind of spaces with cypress trees going up. A lot of these areas back up to some kind of preserve, and they leave a lot of that natural beauty there. The homes, I'm in Bexley right now, and these are a little bit more craftsman style in this specific section of Bexley. There's other areas where they're a little bit more, stucco, clay roof, kind of Tuscan style, like Starkey Ranch. There's kind of everything in between. And typically in one neighborhood, you kind of have that consistent style. Most of these are pretty like simple stucco Florida homes that you would expect. And the style of these areas, I would call it sparse suburban. So there's other areas that I would call dense suburban, like West Chase, which is a little more in Tampa. I would call that dense suburban. Yeah, it feels kind of nice when you're in that area, but as soon as you're out of that area, you've got a big mall, you're kind of in the city kind of a feel. These areas I'm talking about, they're a little more sparse suburban, where you do have to drive, 15 minutes to the grocery store, but it might just be outside your neighborhood. You turn and you drive 1 mile down the main road and you're there. So stuff is still very accessible, but it's just a little bit more spaced out. Everybody in these areas is commuting somewhere to work typically. They're not working really nearby. I'm trying to think of other things that would describe the feel to you. A lot of these, I know Florida has a reputation for having a lot of retirees, and there's definitely retirees in these neighborhoods, but there's also a lot of families. These suburban areas are very family focused, very family friendly. Okay, next is size. Most of these suburban towns are not any bigger than 100,000 people. There are a few that are right around 100,000. Part of Newport Richey kind of fits into the suburban classification. Newport Richey is 150,000 people. The whole west side of Newport Richey doesn't fit this classification because it has an old downtown and it has this kind of old coastal area. The east side fits, Odessa fits pretty small, Land O'Lakes fits pretty small, Wesley Chapel, 60,000 people. As you go down on the southeast side into Brandon and Riverview, both of those towns are around 100,000 people. But all these suburban areas are really 30,000 to 100,000. They're not any bigger than that. When it comes to the homes, I also want to talk about the size of the homes. Our typical client is looking for a 4-bedroom house with a pool if they're looking in these kind of areas. In this neighborhood, like Bexley, there's also 2-bedroom houses. There's 2-bedroom connected houses that retirees tend to really like. There's 3-bedroom houses that are kind of on the small end and have like a garage in the back where you pull in an alley kind of. So it has like a inviting front porch. There's quite a few neighborhoods like that our clients have been liking recently. And then there's bigger homes, obviously going up to 4,000 or 5,000 square feet, maybe on a half acre. I was talking to a friend the other day. She has a listing in Starkey Ranch that's priced at $995, and it's a big 4-bedroom house on a half acre. So these neighborhoods do have some, bigger lots like that, bigger homes, but not as many. They're typically that 3 to 4 bedroom, 1,800 square feet to 2,600 square feet, kind of right in that range. All right, cost. Cost of these neighborhoods really is a pretty huge range. Really, entry for most of these neighborhoods is $400. Entry for a lot of them is closer to $500. And then we're going up to, $1.5 million pretty consistently in a lot of these neighborhoods for the perfect lot, the big house, the custom add-ons with the builder, those kind of things. Some of the hidden costs of these areas. One hidden cost you don't have is flood insurance. These areas are built up higher, they're newer construction. Insurance is pretty affordable. People ask about insurance all the time, and that is not really an issue you have to deal with in these newer suburbs. I mean, you still have to have insurance, but your insurance isn't going to double the next year. There's not going to be as big of a risk. Other costs involved though, your HOA. Typically these neighborhoods have HOA fees really between $60 a month up to $400 a month. Obviously a big range of amenities and big range of everything provided for those costs too. Another fee that's very typical for these neighborhoods is CDD fees, Community Development District taxes. So this is a way that they borrow money from the state to build out this infrastructure, to build out all the roads and sewer systems and stormwater systems and all that kind of stuff. All that stuff on bare land costs a lot of money, so they borrow that money from the state, then they make you pay for it in your property taxes. That ranges too. Some of these neighborhoods, that's going to be $900 a year. Others, it's going to be $3,500 a year. It really depends how much needed to be done and then how many homes it's spread across. So like Starkey Ranch, the neighborhood is only 1,100 homes. So their CDD fee is over $3,000 a year per resident. And that's just because it's not spread out across as many homes, as many residents. So that is always a factor, but those are just fees you have to keep in mind with developments like this. Thankfully, the insurance isn't going to spike like an older home closer to the water. My home that I bought in 2021, I have to carry flood insurance on that home too. So when I bought that home, my homeowners and flood combined was $4,200. I just renewed it, it's $9,600. So since September 2020, to now, August 2024, it has gone up quite a bit. Now it did flood, so maybe it's right that they would charge that much, but in these neighborhoods, you're not gonna have to think about that kind of sudden cost increase, which is super nice. All right, that's the Tampa Suburbs explained. I'd love to know what questions you guys have, and if you got value out of this, I would love to hear from you. Give us a call, text, or email anytime. Thanks for coming by.